Getting started with our web design and marketing training. And the first thing that I want to do is take a look at a very important question. This is a question I asked myself while I was preparing to do this video series because I wanted to create content and understanding that would be unlike anything that had been created before relating to web design and marketing. And the reason for that is because I have found even myself that most of the information that's available in the market is very fragmented or is outdated. So the first thing we want to ask ourselves, is it possible that most of what we have been taught and think about web design and marketing could be wrong, or at least lacking in real understanding and accurate analysis? And what we want to do is, based on that question, go to a place where we start to do good analysis. Now typically when I need to do analysis, the first thing I'll do is try and sort of disassociate what I think I understand about something and start to look at it from its most fundamental point of view. What is it really that I'm working with? What is it really that I'm dealing with? And how do I want to approach both my analysis and working with the subject that I'll be working with, in this case being the internet. So the first question I want to ask myself is, how do I do correct analysis? And I really need to look at that from a critical thinking relating to web design and marketing, and starting out with critical analysis or correct analysis and critical thinking. The first thing I want to take a look at, what is the internet? Now before, when I would think about this or ask myself this question, I think, well, it's all these computers linked together passing data information back and forth. And from a hardware point of view, that is what the internet is. But from a user's point of view, what is the internet? People who get on the internet and surf and do shopping and look at YouTube videos and things like that through web browsers, what is the internet to them? In actuality, the internet is nothing more than a massive compilation of linked content. And once we understand that, then we start to look at what is content. And obviously, our next question is, what is content? Information, entertainment, communication, and applications presented through images, video, text, and audio. So now we understand the very basics of what is the internet, linked content, and the very basics of what is content. What does the internet do with content? Nothing more than link it. We're right back to where we started out, linked content. How do people find and or visit your website and content? Typically through links in content around the internet or through embedded content in other sites and content. What do all the top websites in the world, including Google, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, eBay, and many others, have in common? None of them create their own content. They do not create their own content. We'll go ahead and take a look at this here briefly. Here I have my website, advancedartist.com, and I'm going to take a look at how I'm set up with my website and my content in some of the top websites around the world. AdvancedArtist.com is just a static web page. This is my website, but all of my traffic and visitors come from other links. First thing we'll take a look at is Google.com. Now you'll notice here I've done a search for CorelDRAW tutorials, and my website is ranked number 2 out of 3.8 million pages. But if you look here, you'll see that Google has done nothing more than create a link to my website, and all they've done is copy the title information from my page, CorelDRAW tutorials. Come here, CorelDRAW tutorials. And this information, CorelDRAW tutorials and video tutorial training series on AdvancedArtist.com, actually comes from my website. Google has taken my content, indexed it into their search engines, and then presented that in a search through keywords. You'll also notice over here that Google has everything, images, video. Google's well aware of the fact that they're working with content. Go to YouTube.com, CorelDRAW tutorials. Here we are, number 3, with our drop shadow effects in CorelDRAW tutorial, which is from one of our sites, AdvancedT-shirts.com. Here we have tshirtforums.com, and there's a lot of content that's been created about our website, not only by myself, but a number of different individuals linking back to our site. They've created content for us. Facebook, more of the same. Users creating content on their Facebook profile pages, which is linked with their friends. Take a look here at the statistics for AdvancedArtist.com. We can see where our traffic and pages are coming from. Google, so far 4,800 pages. Other search engines, a little bit less. However, very important here. Search engine optimization is very, very important, but really should not be the focus of our work. Many people are focused on search engine optimization, and you need to do that. But we're going to look at an entirely different strategy in this video training series. Here we've got links coming in from other websites, and we can see here, number 2, tshirtforums.com, and many other different websites that have links back into our website, and through these links comes our traffic. Now here is where my site is engaged into the internet, only through these links, and my content is also engaged to the internet through links, and we want to be aware of that in our analysis and in our critical thinking about the internet, web design and marketing, and content. And my website is only a portion of my content, because all of these links are actually content, as we saw here in Google, created by Google for me or around my website. They used my content, created a link with it, and they send visitors doing this keyword search to my website. Who creates content for the top websites in the world, including Google, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, eBay, and many others? Well, of course, the answer is millions of users and other websites. All of these websites are simply facilitating content, searches for content, listing content, ranking content, and presenting means through which people can create and share content through links. How does Google really rank your website and content? Based on content called links related to your website and content across the internet. Now what Google does is they take a look at all of the links and other content across the internet relating to your website, and the site with the most inbound links and the most popularity across the internet is going to get the highest ranks. Now of course you want to do search engine optimization on your website, so Google knows how to index your site correctly based on how it functions related to the content that's created for your site across the internet. Welcome to the World Wide Web of linked content. And we can see here a small graphic that I've set up, which is a representation of the internet. And you can see what's going on here is that all of this content is being created through websites and blogs and different things, forums and directories, e-stores, all of which is linked together through the internet. Now there are some very important gateways. YouTube, Google is a gateway into the content through links, but everything is going on through links. So what you want to be aware of in dealing with your web design and marketing is that you're going to be working with a massive compilation of networked linked content. And what you want to be able to do is integrate your website, your content into the internet in the most effective forms possible. And by forms I mean ways, I guess you might say, in the most effective way possible. You want your content to be able to function correctly across the internet as a whole, as opposed to just designing a website and putting on the internet. And so often people, when they think about setting up a website for their business, which is a good idea, they think, well, I'm just going to make a website and put it on the internet. And I'm going to present to you, through this training series and some of the other information that we'll be providing, that what you actually need to think about is creating content which includes your website, optimizing your content, and then integrating that into the internet as a whole, being aware of how it is the internet works with and deals with content, both from a human standpoint and from a standpoint of how the technology, software, and hardware of the internet works, so that you create the most effective content for your business objectives on the internet. And we'll continue with this in our next series, or our next session.